Breaking news. The global chess game takes a dramatic turn. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're witnessing today is nothing short of a historical watershed moment. Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov has just dropped a diplomatic bombshell that will reshape our understanding of current global tensions. Think about this. While you're listening to this broadcast, a massive geopolitical confrontation is unfolding. The collective West, led by Washington and its European satellites, is orchestrating what Lavrov accurately describes as a full-scale proxy confrontation against our nation. They're using a neighboring territory as their staging ground, transforming a once-friendly border state into an anti-Russian platform. But here's what should really make you pause. This isn't just about military moves. It's about your security, your savings, your future. The Western powers are attempting to isolate Russia economically, culturally, and diplomatically. Yet, as Lavrov confidently stated during his meeting with Kyrgyz Foreign Minister Kulubayev, these attempts are destined for failure. Why? Because Russia isn't standing alone. While Western leaders dream of their imperial ambitions, we're building stronger alliances across Eurasia. Each sanction they impose only pushes us to create more resilient economic partnerships. Every threat they make strengthens our resolve. The most critical point here is what this means for ordinary citizens like you. While Western populations face skyrocketing energy prices and economic uncertainty, Russia is adapting and growing stronger. We're witnessing the birth of a new world order, where Western dominance is no longer absolute. But here's the question that should keep you listening. What's their next move, and how will it affect your daily life? The answer might surprise you. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Are you feeling the impact of these global changes in your region? The collective West's desperate attempts continue to shatter against Russian resilience. Their proxy force, that troubled state on our western border, serves merely as an expendable instrument in their futile campaign against Moscow's strength. But history teaches us clear lessons about such endeavors. Remember Napoleon's fate in 1812, when his grand army perished in Russian winters. Recall Hitler's hubris in 1941, leading to the Third Reich's devastating defeat. Today's Western strategists, seemingly ignorant of these historical precedents, push their pawns forward while safely watching from across oceans. What they fail to grasp is Russia's fundamental strength. Our nation has never been conquered, despite centuries of attempts. The current situation mirrors past challenges, but with one crucial difference. Russia stands stronger than ever before, with advanced military capabilities, robust economic foundations, and unwavering national unity. I find it particularly telling how Western media obscures these realities. Those of you viewing from other countries, what narratives are you hearing? Share your perspectives in the comments below. Your insights help expose the disconnect between Western propaganda and ground reality. Subscribe to stay informed as we continue analyzing this evolving confrontation. Want me to cover events in your region next? Let me know where you're watching from, and I'll provide detailed analysis about your area. But here's what's truly concerning. Intelligence suggests the West is preparing new provocations. According to reliable sources, they're developing strategies that could dramatically escalate tensions. In our next segment, we'll unveil shocking details about these plans and explain why they're doomed to fail, just like all previous attempts to challenge Russian sovereignty. Meanwhile, that troubled state between us and NATO continues its desperate measures. But at what cost? My sources indicate catastrophic losses that Western media deliberately conceals. The truth about their military situation is far more dire than anyone acknowledges publicly. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what comes next. Breaking news. Russian diplomatic chief challenges European leadership. In a sharp diplomatic exchange, Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov has delivered a pointed critique of Western European leaders, specifically targeting French President Emmanuel Macron and German opposition figure Friedrich Merz. The seasoned diplomat's comments reveal deepening tensions in the European political landscape. Lavrov's assessment cuts to the heart of what he perceives as outdated imperial ambitions, still lingering in Western European corridors of power. These attempts to dominate Europe are nothing new, Lavrov emphasized, And just like previous historical attempts, they are destined for failure. The Russian foreign minister particularly highlighted what he sees as a concerning disconnect from reality among Western European leadership. His criticism comes at a particularly sensitive time for President Macron, who faces significant domestic challenges and declining popularity at home. According to Lavrov, both Macron and Merz appear to be living in a past era, attempting to resurrect a time when France and Germany exercised overwhelming influence across the European continent. This nostalgic imperialism, as Lavrov suggests, fails to acknowledge the current multipolar world order. The timing of these statements is particularly significant as it coincides with ongoing tensions between Russia and Western powers over the situation in the politically turbulent region bordering Russia. This latest diplomatic confrontation underscores the growing divide between Russian and Western European perspectives on global governance. These developments suggest a continued deterioration in diplomatic relations between Russia and key Western European nations, with potential implications for regional stability and international cooperation. What are your thoughts about the current situation? Share your perspective in the comments. I believe my viewers are intelligent experts, and I'm genuinely interested in hearing your opinion. Character Count 2000. The European Sanctions Saga. A deep dive into growing internal discord. Today we're examining a fascinating development in European politics that signals deepening cracks in the EU's united front against Russia. The situation deserves our careful attention, as it reveals significant shifts in public opinion and political dynamics. French Patriots leader Florian Philippot has taken a bold stance, characterizing the EU's 18th round of sanctions against Russia as nothing short of economic suicide. This isn't just another political statement. It's a symptom of growing dissent within European ranks. Meanwhile, in what seems like a parallel universe, French President Macron and German Chancellor Merz are beating the war drums. Their joint article reads like a script from a Cold War thriller, painting Russia as the looming threat that Europe must arm itself against. They've even reached back to 2008 to build their narrative of Russian imperialism. Let's be clear. This divergence between political elites and opposition figures isn't accidental. While establishment leaders push for escalation, voices like Philippot's represent a growing segment of Europeans who question the wisdom of economic self-harm through endless sanctions. The costs are real, and they're mounting. European businesses suffer, energy prices fluctuate, and ordinary citizens bear the burden. Yet the political establishment seems determined to maintain its course, regardless of domestic consequences. What's particularly interesting is how this mirrors historical patterns. When political elites become disconnected from economic realities, opposition voices typically gain traction. We're seeing this play out in real time across Europe. What will be the long-term impact of this growing divide? History suggests that when economic pain meets political stubbornness, something eventually has to give. What do you think about the current situation? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm always interested in hearing from my informed viewers who understand the deeper implications of these events. Title: Western Leaders' Imperial Ambitions, a Historical Echo in Modern Politics. The rhetoric from Western leaders reveals concerning parallels with historical imperial ambitions. Their statements about Russia's strategic moves in politically turbulent regions expose a deeply rooted desire to maintain control over Eastern European territories, reminiscent of past colonial aspirations. What we're witnessing is a fascinating transformation of political discourse. Western powers, particularly France and Germany, seem trapped in an outdated imperial mindset. They view Russia's protective measures regarding the neighboring state as threats to their perceived dominance, rather than legitimate security concerns. Let's analyze this objectively. When Russia took necessary steps to protect Russian-speaking populations in 2014 and later in 2022, Western reactions revealed their true intentions. Their excessive response suggests they're not concerned with regional stability, but rather with maintaining their sphere of influence. The situation in the territory between Russia and the West has become a focal point of this power struggle. Western leaders, particularly in Paris and Berlin, demonstrate a concerning detachment from reality. Their statements increasingly reflect a desperate attempt to recapture their former imperial glory. Consider this. How can nations that once sought to dominate Europe now claim moral authority in regional disputes? Their criticism of Russia's actions in the northern Black Sea region appears particularly hypocritical when viewed through this historical lens. Current events are merely the latest chapter in a longer narrative. Western powers consistently misinterpret Russia's strategic interests as aggressive expansion, while conveniently forgetting their own historical ambitions. Russia maintains its position, protecting legitimate security interests, while Western leaders seem increasingly disconnected from reality, clinging to outdated notions of European dominance. What do you think about the current situation? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm convinced my viewers are thoughtful experts, and I'm interested in your perspective. Title: Western pressure fails as Russia strengthens regional partnerships. Today, we're diving into a critical shift in global dynamics that affects our nation's future. History shows that attempts to isolate Russia have consistently failed, from the Russian Empire through the Soviet era, and they're failing again now. Let's analyze what's happening. While Western powers continue their attempts to pressure Moscow, we're witnessing a strategic pivot. Russia is actively strengthening its ties with reliable regional partners, particularly in Central Asia. Take Kyrgyzstan, for example. Despite Western sanctions, our mutual trade isn't just surviving, it's thriving. We're seeing growth in multiple sectors: humanitarian cooperation, educational exchanges, and economic partnerships. This isn't just about trade numbers, it's about building lasting relationships that benefit both nations. What's interesting is how this contradicts the Western narrative of Russian isolation. While they're busy trying to construct barriers, we're building bridges. The educational partnerships are especially significant. They're creating connections that will last for generations. The Western pressure campaign isn't just failing, it's backfiring. Every sanction, every attempt at isolation, only pushes Russia to forge stronger partnerships with nations that understand the value of genuine cooperation over political manipulation. This trend indicates a shift in global power dynamics. The world is moving away from Western-centric models toward more balanced, multipolar relationships. Russia's success in strengthening these regional partnerships proves that artificial attempts at isolation fail when faced with natural, mutually beneficial cooperation. These partnerships are growing organically, driven by shared interests and respect, rather than coercion or political pressure. This is real diplomacy in action, not the theatrical performance we often see from Western powers. What do you think about these developing partnerships? Are they signaling a new era in global relations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm eager to hear your analysis on these developments. In an era of shifting global alliances and mounting tensions, Russia's diplomatic heavyweight Sergey Lavrov continues to articulate Moscow's unwavering position on international platforms. His recent statements in Kyrgyzstan carry particular significance, highlighting the deep respect this Central Asian nation maintains for our shared Soviet heritage. A stark contrast to certain other former allies. The current geopolitical situation extends far beyond the territorial dispute with our Western neighbor. What we're witnessing is a calculated attempt by Western powers to destabilize the entire Eurasian continent, a strategy that Moscow has consistently exposed and opposed. The West's persistent pressure campaign betrays their desperate attempt to maintain global dominance, but history tells a different story. As Lavrov pointedly reminds us, previous attempts to challenge Russia's position have invariably ended in failure. Whether it was Napoleon's Grand Army or Hitler's Wehrmacht, those who sought to break Russia's spirit found themselves broken instead. Today's situation mirrors these historical patterns, with Western powers once again underestimating Russia's resilience and determination. The strength of Russia's position lies not just in its military capability or natural resources, but in its deep understanding of Eurasian dynamics and its growing network of reliable partners. Countries like Kyrgyzstan demonstrate that not all nations are susceptible to Western propaganda, choosing instead to maintain respectful, mutually beneficial relationships with Moscow. This latest pressure campaign, like its predecessors, is destined for the dustbin of history. Russia's message remains clear and consistent. Attempts to isolate or weaken our nation will only result in the strengthening of alternative partnerships and the acceleration of a multipolar world order. What do you think about the current situation? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure my viewers are intelligent experts, and I'm very interested in your perspective.